say March comes in like a lion and leaves like a lamb, and we know spring started officially on March 20th, but there are some days that we still have where we kind of question whether spring's really here or not. Of course, there are also days where it feels like spring is here to stay. Now keep in mind though, you don't want to plant any warm season crops until around April 15th, as that's our annual last freeze date. There is something that you can do in the meantime to help your warm season crops get adjusted to be transplanted out into your garden, and that's to harden them off. So a good way to do that is to put your transplants in a cart and roll them into a location, or place them in a location such as under a trellis or under a tree, where they're going to receive a little more of that bright sunlight and also be exposed to some more wind. This is going to help them acclimate, and you also might want to let them dry out a little bit, because in the garden they're going to receive full sun and they're going to be experiencing a lot of wind that can dry them out faster as well. Not only will this help them get acclimated to those environments that they're about to receive in the garden, if we still have temperatures that dip down below what they prefer, then we can easily load them up and take them into the garage or somewhere where it's sheltered to protect them before we put them back out again. So hardening off is something that you should really do with any of your transplants for about a week at least, to get them acclimated to be ready to go out into the garden. Speaking of warm season crops, most of our warm season crops don't like to be planted out until our soil temperatures reach about 60 degrees. You can check the Oklahoma Mesonet site to find out what your soil temperatures are in your particular location. And remember, bare soils warm up faster than covered soils. So if you haven't mulched yet, you might want to hold off, not only to allow those soil temperatures to warm up around those plant roots, but also we tend to get April showers, which will erode that mulch and wash it away. Furthermore, sometimes that mulch might gather up around the base of the plant and lead to the rot of the crown of that plant. So if you haven't mulched, you might want to hold off on that just till we get through some of these April showers. Now there are a lot of other plants that are soon going to be planted out in the garden, and if you've purchased something that has been touted as being low maintenance or drought tolerant, keep in mind those labels do not apply until that plant has been established after a few seasons in your garden. So you want to make sure that you're still taking care of it and checking the water regularly on that, especially any new shrubs or trees that you might have planted. Even if we've gotten some rainfall, it's important to go out and actually check that plant, because we tend to think that sometimes we get more rainfall than the plant might have actually received, especially if it's up under your house, under those eaves. It might not have received any rainfall at all. The other thing to think about is when we're going into April, we're going to start seeing a lot more insects. Now, not all insects are bad insects, of course. If you have any fruit trees, you want to be cautious about spraying any insecticides around those fruit trees, because after all, it's those pollinators that provide us with the produce that we're after on the fruit trees. Furthermore, there are predatory insects, and those predatory insects are beneficial in our garden to take care of some of those other pesky insects. Here's some more horticulture tips for the month of April.
We hope you enjoyed this video. It's part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on our OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.